Call me live the way she actioned my adaptation. Call me adaptations the way she's living. Call me live because her actions adapt to things. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host here, Nate the Human, and man, there are a lot more people here than there were last time. There are about 200 of you guys now, which is crazy. Over the last 2 videos, I've gained like 30 subs, which is amazing to me. So if you haven't already, please subscribe down below, because if I'm this happy about like 30 subs, imagine how happy I would be if I got like 2 more of you guys. That'd be even crazier for me. So thank you though if you have subscribed over the past couple videos. And yeah, so today I want to talk about live action adaptation. So Netflix today announced that their live action Yu Yu Hakusho is coming out December 14th, which is kind of following off the backs of the One Piece adaptation. Now the Yu Yu Hakusho live action has been in development for a little bit now. We've gotten the cast, I believe, and we've seen a couple pictures of them, but no like real set pics or anything like that. So hoping that this is going to be a good adaptation. But that got me thinking, hey, what other animes do I want to see adapted in live action? And I guess if we wanted to, we could even, constrict that even more and say what ones would I want Netflix to adapt. Why do I keep that word is beating my ass? Anyway, so today I want to talk about some of the shows that I think could be successful if they were to be adapted in live action. Okay, let's start off with the first one, Yu Yu Hakusho. Will it be a good live action remake? I don't know, but I think they have a good chance of it, because if it's like the One Piece one, what kept that show, afloat for me, that's funny, is the choreography, the fight choreography. And the Yu Yu Hakusho, if you know anything about it, you know that it's all about throwing hands and fighting, and if they can just get someone who can choreograph really well, then I think they can make something pretty sick happen, because you don't need to go over the top with anything really, at least in the first arc of it, because they're really not going to do, I don't think, too deep into it. They're probably just going to do, spoilers if you haven't seen it already, just the Yusuke dying and becoming like a spirit detective and taking on a couple like cases at first. I don't know if we're gonna get like the the Dark Tournament, any of that stuff anytime soon. Maybe if it's successful they will, but yeah, as far as the Yu Yu Hakusho one, all they have to do is find someone who can kick ass and find a main character who's playing Yusuke. Hopefully he is a badass, because that's all he is. He's like the biggest shit talker, total badass, doesn't back down from anybody, and is just ready to fight anybody at any time. So if they just cast that correctly, then I think we'll be okay. And also you have to find somebody really beautiful to play Kurama, because that's a beautiful man right there. But if they can do any of that stuff, I think it'll be okay. Okay, so I think that they can do Dr. Stone live action pretty successfully. There's really not a lot going on as far as like over-the-top action scenes. That's probably like my biggest gripe with the One Piece live action, is that you could feel that it was a little bit constricted, like what Luffy could do. He can't go too crazy because it's gonna look silly. They worked around it pretty well, I'd say, but yeah, there were parts where you can see they were struggling with that. So I think that if they did Dr. Stone, you don't really have to focus on any of that stuff. You just gotta find someone who can play a smart character, and then you can really lean into like the science aspect of it all, and get that crowd going for you, like the big time like science geeks. They would really be into it. Really the only big thing you need to worry about is like the turning them to stone aspect. How is that gonna work? It'd be cool if they found a way to do it practically, like just find costumes and makeup that make them look like they are stone. That'd be cool. But yeah, the rest of it though shouldn't be too bad. The setting's not too crazy. You're just pretty much like out in the woods the whole time, and it's just him explaining how things work to these primitive beings who have been alive for thousands of years, and he has all this knowledge. So I think that it could lend itself really well to a live action adaptation, because it's not a lot going on, and it's just really simple, straightforward, and I think you would get a lot of people who were like, I guess not like, but the people in like the science group who watched like Bill Nye growing up, this could be like their Bill Nye for like the new generation. Maybe even if you made it well enough, they would show it in class, just like with Bill Nye and Mythbusters. That was always like the highlight for me, was watching these in class. Like, oh man, I'm like watching TV, the stuff that I would watch at home here at school. If it was good enough, the Dr. Stone adaptation, maybe they can show segments in classes, like, hey, this is how electricity works, or hey, this is how you make a tire, or something like that. I think it has a really good path if they do it really well. Okay, now the next one is kind of a cheat code, because it exists already in some form or fashion, not this one specifically, but the property or genre of this is going to be a sports category. I'm going to pick Blue Lock. That's right. We've seen Shaolin Soccer, right? If you haven't seen Shaolin Soccer, why not? Shaolin Soccer fucking rules. It's so great. But yeah, this could be like that, but maybe tone it down a little bit to make it more serious for the people who really are into soccer. And when you think about it, we haven't really gotten any big soccer things lately. I guess Ted Lasso, but that doesn't really focus on the soccer playing aspect of it. So if they could find like actual people who play soccer, can teach the actors, or if they even are good enough to even act in some of the scenes, I think it'd be really cool. It would look really good, especially if they like, you know, did actual techniques and stuff like that. They could film it really well. And again, it's not one of those ones that has like an over the top action budget. It really is just like, hey, can this person play soccer? And maybe like, how do we make the monster that's inside of them look cool? Or how do we get their eyes to do like certain effects like that? Once you get that figured out, I think it would be pretty smooth sailing. It would be pretty, you know, pretty fun to watch. And yeah, we need more live action sports that are good. We don't have very many of them, and this could be really cool. And it wouldn't be like super cheesy unless they made it super cheesy, but I feel like it could be something that's kind of just like, man, this is really cool. It's like, what's a serious football or like basketball type movie? Maybe like a Friday Night Lights, like not the movie specifically, but the show specifically. Like you got that, and it worked really well because they were able to balance between like the drama and the sports playing aspect of it. So something like that, I think I can compare it to. That'd be great. I would watch that. All right, so going back to the creepy and suspense genre that I've kind of been doing lately. Look at my last video, I listed like the creepiest moments in anime. Something that can fit in that realm very, very well, something that could be adapted to live action would be Paranoia Agent, Satoshi Kon's, I guess, only anime series that he ever worked on. And if you've seen it, you know what it's all about, but if you haven't seen it, basically it is taking the title, Paranoia, and showing you how these people in Japan are affected by it in different ways. They're like little vignettes of each character, and they're dealing with their own version of paranoia, but it's all embodied by this one singular character, Little Slugger. He is the paranoia embodiment. He's the one that terrorizes all these characters, and they don't know if he's real, is he fake, what's going on. And I think it'd be cool to see that in live action, see somebody just rolling around the skates and like hitting people over the head and then them not really being there. But if Netflix can make it somehow creepy, like Haunting on Hill House, that type of genre where it's like really scary and there's different like stories within that universe, I think that they can nail it really well. They'd have to find the right director. I think for this one they can't just hire like a little random person. Maybe they can find some people who did like the Black Mirror episodes. That'd be kind of cool. Or just find people in the horror genre to direct these. And that's the best part about this whole series, is that they are just a bunch of mini stories, so it doesn't have to be focusing on one mainline story. It'd be a cool one to just have like for Halloween, just like, hey, I'm gonna put on Paranoia Agent and see these stories come to live action. But also it'd be like another notch in the belt of Netflix and their live action adaptations of anime, that they have like a horror representative. It could kind of be like their own version of VHS, but a little bit better, I would hope, because VHS, that whole movie genre gets a little crazy with some of them. But this one could be more focused and more driven on just the story of Paranoia Agent, and I think it'd be really cool to see it, come to life. And finally, if Netflix wanted to get into the movie aspect of it, making a live action adaptation movie, because for some reason that's what happens when companies want to make anime into live action, they just make them into a movie. They could try their hands on Akira. I know, it'd be a big ask for them. It'd be a big ask for really anybody, any film company to make it. But if they got the right budget and the right director, I feel like they can nail it. There was at one point a live action adaptation in the works, and I think Leonardo DiCaprio was like attached to do it. I don't know what happened to that. That's crazy. But if they get the right people to do it, I think it would look really cool, because there'd be cool, big, over-the-top fight scenes. There'd be some bloody horror obviously happening in there. So if they just threw like everything at it, I think it'd be really well for them, because they could have another notch in their belt, but this time it would be for a movie anime adaptation. I don't know who I'd want to direct it. I think the closest we ever gotten was Chronicle. If you've seen that movie, Josh Trank's one-hit wonder that he had, that was like so cool, but it was like the closest we got to Akira, because pretty much it is Akira, the story. But I mean, if he could do it with that budget, I'm sure we could get somebody with a big budget to do this. What's Netflix's biggest movie? I guess The Irishman, kind of would be like the biggest one they had. So if they have like that type of budget, then they could do it. Even then, I think they could work within that, because there's not like, they could find workarounds, I think, through some of the stuff that they show in the movie. But it would just be the coolest thing to just see like the bomb go off and just see like the big fight scene at the end and how they would handle that. The lasers, man, the lasers, that'd be pretty difficult. I think that'd probably be like the biggest budget. But yeah, I think they could do it. Or maybe they have to get somebody like in the sci-fi genre, like the usual suspects, to direct it, like Gareth Edwards, who did The Creator in Rogue One, or like Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9 and Chappie. Those directors, somebody who's like a real nerd about this stuff, I think they could nail it, and I think it would look cool. But honestly, if I'm being honest, it's probably going to be the biggest failure out of all these ones on my list, because it's just such a hard property to tackle. And it's just like, even if you nail a little bit of it, there's always going to be someone who's like, they didn't get this part right, or hey, they didn't do this part correctly. It would probably be the biggest challenge. So they'd have to find somebody who's willing to do that, who's willing to challenge themselves, and they have to throw all the money at them in the world. So yeah, that's my list. Those are what I think could be adapted to live action rather successfully, with one big dream thrown out there. What are some that you guys think could be adapted? Throw it down below. I didn't pick like the big three because I feel like a lot of them have a lot of special effects, and I feel like Netflix just can't handle it. Like I said, with the One Piece one, you could tell they were limited with what they could do. But yeah, whatever you think would look good, go ahead and put it down below. I try to focus on my list having something kind of realistic, and something that doesn't take too much special effects, but something more like story driven, though that's what I focus on with my list. So if you like this list or any videos that you've seen on my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate that. Also, you can follow down below. All the links are there for you. And yeah, until next time, go direct something. I call her Adaptation the way she's giving action to my live. Yo, there it is. I got it.